also something with hip hop. I mean, hip hop is just an amalgamation of sound. It's all perspective because hip hop is the only type of music that could bring in opera, country, jazz, R&B to make a brand new track from a unilateral perspective. Just like B Plus was saying, you know, there's Irish breaks. I mean, there's Japanese breaks, there's Brazilian breaks, there's American breaks, and hip hop's perspective of just what is funky to that producer and or MC is something that was never really done before. And it's also based on this culture of just the DJ, of mixing, just mixing different things together to make something brand new that was never done before. This history wasn't just sitting around, just like Oliver said. It's something that was made on the spot. And something also about Brian's book that really hits me is it's hard not to think of history as something that was just predestined or that was just supposed to happen. You know? I mean, just even reading like on People's Instinctive Travels or just, I mean, there's so many classic albums like 36 Chambers or you know, like I'm reading interviews in your book that deal with people I actually have a relationship with. And I have my stories from them and I have the stories in your book. And your book is so thorough. I mean, nothing ever, you know, everything always pans out. But it's always amazing to me to talk to these people and to realize that they didn't know that they'd be successful. And one thing that really hit me last week is that Ali Shaheed Muhammad from A Tribe Called Quest, he put up a letter on Instagram last week. And it's a letter that he wrote when he was 17. And it talked about how when he grows up, he wants to make music and be successful making music. And when he was 17, 18, I mean, that was a time, you know, that was Jungle Brothers was hot. I mean, that was a time when they didn't really, Tribe Called Quest didn't really know if they were going to be anything. But to see that these people that have reached such a plateau based on just music didn't know that they would even get there at a certain point. You know, it's amazing to me. Because, like Oliver said, history isn't laying around. It's just something that just happens. But it's hard not to look at it like that, you know? Because being somebody that was just always a fan, this stuff was just predestined. Seeing this dude on Yo MTV Raps, you know? You were just supposed to be on there. You know, I mean, you were just supposed to be chosen just to be on, you know? I was just supposed to have your records. But then to discover that there was actually a story behind that, and there was hard work behind that, and there was the fact that you guys had this connection in New York of just moving around with people that were just like-minded trying to make it. Then you start realizing, well, wait a minute, how many people didn't make it? You know? How many people got locked up or killed? You know, I mean, just something also about this book is the fact that you're from Boston, talking about Boston. The Ed O.G., that chapter, obviously that's a long chapter for a reason. Yeah. But I always heard about how Boston was racist. I always heard about it, but I never really had anybody that I knew that was close to me to talk to me about Boston. Mm-hmm. But just those stories in the 80s, yep. You know? And then talking to these hip-hop icons just about New York at that time. And then you listen to hip-hop from the late 80s, early 90s. You hear about, you know, what you guys was talking about and how much New York has changed now. I mean, the book is just, it's crazy. From a historical perspective, from an artistic perspective, it's something that before I even knew you, I was telling people, you need to get this book. So, I mean, Thank you for writing the book. I know I'm going on, but it's a very important book historically.